going to do our talk through stories, and it's going to be Jack and the Beanstalk. We would like you to join in like you would in school. Okay? So, Mrs. Shakespeare and Year 1. This is a traditional tale, which means it's been told and retold over and over and over. Sometimes they're called a different name. Do you know what they might be called?
Is it a fairy tale?
Yes! Well done. This one is about a poor boy and his mother, and Jack buys some magic beans. Are you ready? Okay, so we're just going to listen to the story to start with. Jack and his mother were so poor they never had enough to eat. One morning they had nothing left at all. "You'll have to take the cow to market and sell her," Jack's mother said sadly. I bet that was a really hard decision, wasn't it? On the way, Jack met a strange little man. "I'll give you these for the cow," said the little man, holding out 5 wrinkly dried beans. "I need money, not beans." "I need money, not beans."
"I need money, not beans,"
said Jack. "Ah, but if you plant these, they are magic beans," said the little man, "and if you plant them, they grow into a beanstalk so tall that it touches the sky." Do you think Jack should trust him? Let's see. "Amazing," said Jack. He gave his cow to the little man, took the beans, and he ran off home. But when he got home, he was in trouble. He was in big trouble. "What have you done?" "Jack, we need money, not beans," cried his mother, and she threw the beans out of the window. Oh dear, I bet Jack felt awful disappointing his mother, don't you? Poor Jack went to bed hungrier and gloomier than ever. You see, he really does look sad in this story. What were they to do? In the morning, even his room seemed gloomy. Hang on, his room seemed gloomy? Just a minute, why could that be? Outside his window was a giant beanstalk so tall that it touched the sky. The little man was right, thought Jack. He scrambled, which means he moved really quickly and awkwardly, out onto the giant beanstalk, and he climbed up and up. And there at the top he found a giant castle with a giantess in front of it. Jack gulped, which means a really big swallow. Then his tummy rumbled. "Excuse me," he called out. "Please could you spare some breakfast?" The giantess picked him up. "My husband munches and crunches little people like you," she said. "I'll give you breakfast. You'd better be gone, though, before my husband gets home." She whisked Jack inside and sat him next to an enormous crusty loaf. Breakfast had never tasted so good. But then, stomp, stomp, stomp. "Quickly, hide in here!" The giantess stuffed Jack into a pot, just as the giant strode into the kitchen. I think she was worried about Jack and she was trying to protect him, wasn't she? Do you want to do this bit, Mrs. Shakespeare?
I do. "Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread."
Scary. "Where is he?" demanded the giant, and he started to search the table. He really needed to know. "You're imagining things," said his wife. "Eat up your breakfast while I bring you your hen." She returned. She came back with the hen and she put it on the table. "Lay!" commanded the giant. He was telling it what to do. Clink! The little bird laid a gleaming golden egg. With a grunt, the giant closed his eyes and began to snore. The giantess lifted Jack out of the teapot. "Run for your life," she whispered, but Jack had his eyes on the hen. He grabbed the hen and he fled for the door, but the bird let out an almighty squawk, which woke the giant, who saw Jack and let out a furious roar. Oh, I think he was really angry now. Jack dived out the door and onto the beanstalk with the giant hot on his heels. That means that he was chasing really close behind him. Jack scrambled down the beanstalk as fast as his little legs would take him. "What's going on?" shrieked his mother from below. It's a giant! "Just bring the axes!" Jack cried. I think he wanted his mum to chop down the beanstalk, didn't he? Jack and his mother chopped and chopped at the beanstalk. It creaked and it wobbled, then it toppled over sideways. The giant was flung far over the hills, and they never saw him again. Thank goodness. As for Jack and his mother, they lived happily ever after. Each morning the hen laid a golden egg, so they grew rich, and Jack never climbed another beanstalk. That was a good story, wasn't it?
That was a good story.
Okay, are you ready?
I am.
We're going to do some freeze framing first. So, the first thing I want you to think about is Jack returning home with the beans and not the money. How do you think his mum felt? Can you show me how his mum might feel? Oh, you look furious.
I am furious.
You look irritated.
I am irritated.
Okay, this time the giant's chasing you. Freeze! Oh my goodness, you look terrified.
I am terrified.
And you look petrified.
I am petrified.
Okay, one more. Jack and his mum chop the beanstalk down. Freeze. You look glad.
Oh, I am glad.
And you look relieved.
I am relieved.
Good. Okay, next one. Are we ready? We play a game of which sentence is right. So my turn. Mum is proud of Jack for swapping the cow for beans.
Mum is proud of Jack for swapping the cow for beans.
Mum is irritated with Jack for swapping the cow for beans.
Mum is irritated with Jack for swapping the cow for beans.
So which one is right? Proud or irritated? Which do you think?
Well, I don't think she was proud. I think she was irritated.
Okay, so do we agree? Mum was irritated with Jack for swapping the cow for beans. Well done, Mrs. Shakespeare. Okay, next one. The beanstalk was easy to climb, or the beanstalk was tricky to climb. And my turn first. The beanstalk was easy to climb.
The beanstalk was easy to climb.
The beanstalk was tricky to climb.
The beanstalk was tricky to climb.
Which do you think?
Is it tricky?
I agree. I think the beanstalk was tricky to climb. Well done. Shall we do one more? One more, okay. Jack was hungry after climbing the beanstalk.
Jack was hungry after climbing the beanstalk.
Jack was tired after climbing the beanstalk.
Jack was tired after climbing the beanstalk.
Shall I just remind you? It's tricky, isn't it? Let's have a little think. So we were climbing the beanstalk, and then Jack gulped and his tummy rumbled.
And I know, if your tummy rumbles, that's because you're a bit hungry.
So which do you think it
I
was?
think Jack was hungry after he climbed the
He
beanstalk.
was indeed. Well done. Give yourself a round of applause and a round of applause. Nice. Okay, are you ready to quiz the character?
Okay.
So, I want you to give me 3 adjectives, they're describing words, to describe the giant's wife.
Ooh. Well, she was very big.
She was big.
She was quite kind.
I agree, she was kind.
And she was quite helpful.
I absolutely agree. So, big, kind, helpful. Well done. Okay. How did you feel when your mum threw the beans out of the window? So you're Jack at this point. How did you feel when your mum threw the beans out of the window?
3 words.
Yeah.
I was a bit cross
Oh.
because I had gone and got those beans. I was a bit cross. I was a bit disappointed because I was quite excited to see what the beans, because they were magical, what the magic beans would grow. Cross, disappointed. Did feel a little bit embarrassed that I'd been a bit silly and got rid of all of cow instead of money.
Words. Well done, Mrs. Shakespeare. Can you think of any others you want? Okay, and one last question. Okay, are you ready? Would you ever plant magic beans again to grow a beanstalk? If you were Jack, what do you think?
Jack. Well, on the one hand, and it was very good because he got his golden eggs. It was quite dangerous.
And Mum was a little bit disappointed,
She
wasn't
was.
she?
But I am quite brave, and golden eggs are quite cool.
Well done, Year 1. Shall we have a little hip hip hooray? Ready? Hip hip hooray! Well done for your talk through stories.
See you later.